This is a little bit of a unique circumstance.
Now at 6, an unusual case.
I haven't heard of this happening in quite a long time.
The local police now under investigation over a man's death. Plus, a new approach to tackling addiction and Portland's open-air drug problem. And finishing off a better red. Max riders are in for one more major disruption as part of a massive TriMet project. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm China Green. We begin with a death that has raised a lot of questions. Police in Milwaukee say a man died while they were transporting him from the hospital to another facility. Let's bring in Alma McCarty now. Alma, this started when hospital staff say the man was refusing to leave after being discharged.
Yeah, China, the Milwaukee police officers, we are told, placed this man on a peace officer hold, determining that he was a danger to himself and others and was in need of immediate care, custody, or treatment for mental illness. And we also learned that those officers transported the man to Unity Center for Behavioral Health in Portland in their police cruiser. On Tuesday night, around 9:45, dispatchers first got the call, an unwanted person at the hospital. Milwaukee police report finding a man had just been discharged from the Providence ER, but was refusing to leave. Officers also discovered the man had several active arrest warrants in both Clackamas and Multnomah County, but because of his mental state, didn't believe he could be booked into jail.
To find an alternative, they found that he was unlikely to be able to care for himself. And so there is a statute that allows us to put a police officer hold on someone in that situation. So the officers put a POH on him and drove him to Unity.
But then, when they arrived there around 11 p.m., the Milwaukee officers discovered the man was unresponsive. Portland police were initially called in to help, but first responders say they were unable to revive him, and the man was pronounced dead. Now, Sergeant Allen says PPB's homicide unit is handling the case.
This is a little bit of a unique circumstance where somebody is already in the hospital and there's an effort to try to figure out what is the most appropriate place to put this person. And so that will be a big part of this investigation, is how did that process happen? How did the officers problem solve this situation? Is there anything that we can learn from this situation?
This is an unusual situation. I haven't heard of this happening in quite a long time.
Jason Renault with the Mental Health Association of Portland has similar questions and concerns.
Well, a lot of concern about all these parts and pieces, and did they all work together as prescribed? Very concerned about the hospital that released him. Very concerned about the decision to transport him by police officers and not by an ambulance, and very concerned about his medical condition that would cause him to die in the midst of this transport.
Both Milwaukee police officers were placed on administrative leave, which is standard protocol. Sergeant Allen says the officers did have body-worn cameras, which will then clear the timeline of offense, or get a clear timeline of events, excuse me. But in the investigation, the footage has not been made public yet. We'll keep following this story. In your other headlines tonight, Portland police have launched a new approach to addiction. They're trying to get drug users off the streets and connected to services. So here's how it works. When Portland police come across people openly using drugs downtown, they'll ask them if they're interested in treatment. If they say yes, an outreach worker will be sent to them to start that process.
So we're trying to kind of break that cycle now by just starting to, introduce people to service providers who can come out on the street that moment and hopefully make those connections that, convince people to go into recovery.
And coming up on the story at 6:30, Blair Best talks with drug users and looks into what happens if they say no to getting help. Two people have been arrested accused of ramming police vehicles and trying to get away. So this is police video of the incident. It started in Tigard last Friday with a call about two people who were slumped over in a car. When an officer approached the car by Southwest Pacific Highway, police say the driver hit two patrol cars to escape. Police say the driver and passenger eventually ditched the car and ran away, but they were found hiding in a nearby neighborhood. Both were arrested and faces a number of charges. And a heads up for Max riders. TriMet announced the Gateway Transit Center in Northeast Portland is closing for more than a month starting on January 14th. The closure will last through February 25th. Max Green and Blue lines will be disrupted while the Max Red line will be suspended during that time. Shuttle buses and service stations in the affected areas. This is part of TriMet's A Better Red project, which aims to improve services between the transit center and PDX. A community-based food cart pod in the heart of downtown Portland is here to stay. The Cart Blocks is getting a new 5-year permit to remain at the West Burnside space. This food cart pod was created through a partnership between the city of Portland and a local nonprofit called Friends of Green Loop. The carts are primarily family and immigrant owned.
It's actually doing really well. I mean, if you remember what this park was beforehand, it was underused, not really a destination. And now we've brought, people down to this area, created street activities, created street life, and a place where these businesses can thrive.
The Cart Blocks is open 7 days a week. Matt?
Thanks so much, China. You know what? The day started in just a beautiful way with a great sunrise all around the region. This is from Kalama, Washington. Nice reflection of the sunrise in the river there, too. But the day is ending a lot grayer than that, and there's green since we're on a color roll here off the coast of Washington. That's, of course, where the rain is. Doppler radar showing it there. There's a little bit off the southern Oregon coast, and it will be sweeping inland overnight tonight, and you'll wake up to some showers tomorrow morning. This is not, however, another atmospheric river. This will not produce heavy rain or a bunch of mountain snow, won't aggravate the rivers at all. It's just going to bring us a few showers tomorrow. The system is really going to wash out as it rolls inland. Now, it's also washing out the east winds, which have already backed off a lot. They're not over, still blowing East County in and near the gorge, but everywhere else where we had east winds yesterday, they've pretty much been eliminated as this incoming system is changing the pressure pattern around. So we'll get a few showers early tomorrow morning, more east wind developing on Friday, and then showers and mountain snow next week. Certainly, especially towards the end of next week, China. We'll keep a sharp eye out for anything that can improve ski conditions, although there is some news on the mountain for tomorrow. We'll have that later. Back to you.
All right, Matt, thank you. An emotional day in Clark County Court for a rape survivor and her supporters. The man she met on a dating app was sentenced to years in prison. Ashley Grahams joins us. Ashley, you were in the courtroom.
I was, China, and the survivor I talked with today is sharing her story in hopes of showing others that sexual assault victims can get justice, even years later. And I do want to warn you, she does describe the night she was attacked, which may be difficult for some to hear. A small but mighty group of friends and family gathered at the Clark County Courthouse on Wednesday morning, each of them waiting to hear how many years this man, Michael Bartolini, would spend behind bars.
One count of rape in the second degree.
Earlier this fall, Bartolini was convicted of raping a woman in 2021 inside a Vancouver home. That survivor, Aaron, gave an emotional recount before the judge.
That night, I wanted to move. I wanted to scream. I tried to move, but his body weight was on top of me, and I wasn't able to do anything.
She asked the judge for the maximum sentence, saying she's convinced Bartolini would assault another woman if he was out on the street.
I don't want to ever see him again, and I want him in prison as long as possible.
Judge Robert Lewis agreed with her, sentencing Bartolini to 7.5 years to life.
You seem to have a very limited insight about your actions that day. You're in denial about them.
On the steps of the courthouse, surrounded by support, Erin says she feels some relief.
I'm still going to look over my shoulder, but I know he's in prison where he belongs.
We know the jury got this right.
While there was some solace about the sentencing, advocates representing Aaron claim justice could have come sooner if her rape kit was not stuck in a statewide backlog.
There was a delay in the rape kit coming back.
Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson announced in October that thousands of rape kits sitting on shelves across the state have now been processed. He described it as a step toward justice. Aaron hopes her years-long fight will empower other victims to come forward.
It may have been hard for me to do, but that's fine. He can't do this to anyone else.
Now, Aaron, the survivor you just heard from, says she first met Bartolini on Bumble. She's concerned there could be other victims of his in Vancouver and Portland. China.
Ashley, thank you. A family in Boring is thanking family, friends, and their community for the outpouring of support they received after they lost everything in a house fire. Thankfully, no one was home at the time, but they did lose 3 of their dogs and a cat. Joe Rainieri talked with the family members earlier today. And Joe, people have already donated thousands of dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. It didn't take very long, less than a week. A GoFundMe has been raised, already set up rather, and raised nearly $14,000 to help this family. The Diaz-Meza family have called the Big Valley Woods and RV Resort in Boring home for almost a decade now. It was last week when neighbors heard some kind of explosion. That's when they looked out their windows and saw flames shooting out of this home. The house is a total loss, but Roy Diaz-Meza told me he and his father have been so thankful for their family and even the perfect strangers who have been reaching out to help them.
My dad's saying that the people that have helped the most is our friends, family, and everybody else here in the community that just want to help after seeing what happened.
Give them some money to help them buy some clothes and some food. And I think they're going to get help from the Red Cross, maybe.
What's it like? The family does have insurance, but it's only going to cover about $30,000 worth of damage. And they tell me the house is worth nearly $120,000. 2 of their cars that were parked outside of the home were destroyed too. Right now, there is no word yet on what caused the fire. And for the time being, the family is staying with some family who live in the area.
Joe, thank you. Still ahead.